Hello and welcome to Paper Plays Julie K.
Hello everyone, and thank you so much for stopping by. Today I am continuing to work on my Margarete Miller Collage Weekly Planner, and we are already to week number 35. I can't believe how fast summer is going. Things in my life are very busy and chaotic right now. For the most part, I'm kind of done with my work season, just a little bit of paperwork left and maybe one more trip that I have to make, but I'm actually fortunate enough to be receiving a brand new craft room, and it's being built as we speak. We have some plumbers here today outside, so if you hear any noises outside, they're working outside because we have a new building that's going up. And then we're going to be getting concrete if the weather holds out this week, so fingers crossed for that. And so just been really busy thinking about my new space and those kind of things. And so I realized that this weekend I have to have another Margarete Miller video posted. So I'm kind of scrambling a little bit. Usually I'm a couple weeks ahead and I kind of let it go just because I've been busy doing other things, getting ready for our new building. And so this week it looks like another fun one. I don't think it's too difficult of one looking at the prompts. So I just grabbed stuff really fast. Again, my plan is just to use different random pieces that are already in my stash. And so different things. The first one is something that represents summer. And of course I think like picnics. I also thought about, I'm really into birds. And so we have a lot of birds that migrate through this time of year. I know like right now outside our window we have some hummingbird feeders and they're just going crazy. We have like 4 or 5 feeders and they are running out of food every day. That's how crazy it is outside with our hummingbirds right now. So they're starting to migrate through. So we have a bunch of them, and I thought, well, I could try and find another image of a hummingbird, but it seems like I just used one not too long ago right there. And so I thought, well, maybe I need to do something different besides birds. So I was looking through my scraps. And so something that represents summer. I came across this image. It's from a scrapbooking paper book. It might have been an older Prima pad, I'm thinking. And so it has these women on the beach or the seashore playing in the water. And so to me, that kind of represents summer, is being outside and in the water doing things. At least here where I live, the summers are really short, and so we only have the summer months to really go out and play in the water. So I'm using this one as my something that represents summer. And so the next one is a list, and I thought, well, I'm just going to use my grocery list or something like that. But then when I was looking for the next thing on the list, which is a pattern with stripes, I was going through some scrapbooking paper looking for stripes. I actually came across this piece of scrapbooking paper, and it's a party list, and it actually has some different little checklist here for a party. So I thought, well, I'm just going to use that for the list. It seems to kind of match a little bit with the color scheme that's going with this. So I'm going to use this for my list. I'll probably end up cutting it, I'm thinking. And so so I have that, and I probably zoom in a little bit more so you guys can see a little bit better. My camera, I adjusted it up a little bit on my desk, so things are a little off here. And then the next one again was that pattern with stripes. And so I was going through my scrap pile and different things that had stripes in it, and I found a couple things. I did actually have like scraps that had some stripes in it. And this came from, I think this was from, this might have been from one of the kits from Lorna Taylor, who is Tailor Made Designs. It's digital paper. And that was just a scrap that I saved just because I thought it was pretty with the flowers. And so maybe I could use that for stripes. Otherwise, I did find some scrapbooking paper in my stash. I had this one that had stripes, and this one has diagonal stripes that I could cut up and use one of these also. But I'm going to try to use this one since that one is a scrap. So that was a pattern with stripes. And then the next one is a photo or a portion of a photo. And so I did find this one. It's a digital from Tsunami Rose, and a long time ago I shrunk down a whole bunch of them to use in a project, and this one was left over. And so I thought that one will work for a photo. And then this one also has a bicycle, which that kind of represents summer too. So I'm going to use that one too for a photo or a portion of a photo. The next one was Typewriter Text. And so I came across a couple things in my stash that were Typewriter Text. Okay, I found this typewriter stamp that I had stamped a long time ago and written just a note on there. And so that one I think would kind of work for the Typewriter Text, and I'm leaning towards that. But I also found this scrapbooking paper that actually looks like typewriter keys on it. And so that one would work also. Or the other thing I found is in my postage stamp box, I had this envelope, and this is from like the 70s. So I'm assuming that this is typewriter text on here versus something that got printed on a printer. And so it's just an address for Morehead State College. My dad had was friends with a guy that worked there, and when he passed away, my dad helped clean out his apartment. He was kind of a pack rat. And so my dad did save all the interesting like postage stamps. And so that's how that ended up in my stash, because my dad gave me all of his old postage stamps that he had saved. So I could just cut that out and use that for the typewriter text. And then the next one is bonus, which is a clock. And then again, I was going through my scraps and different stuff, and I found this. It's a Tim Holtz Sizzix die cut. And a friend of mine had cut a whole bunch of these for me. And I'm just down to a couple of them. I think I actually ended up buying this cutting die, but she had purchased it, and she was kind enough at the time to make me quite a few of these and put them in an envelope, and I had found that when I was cleaning the other day. So I think I'm going to use this for my clock, because I don't have to use the whole thing on here, and I could easily arrange it under or over something on here. So I think I have everything I'm going to use. I also pulled out some more summer things like butterflies. Flowers represent summer to me. I also had this scrapbooking paper with like seashore stuff on it that I could use. Here was the other stripe paper scrap that I had found. And then I also found this little pocket that's falling apart that I could re-tape together that had some stripes on it too. So I had some other stuff sitting here that I could change my mind on what I want to use, just so I have a couple things to play with. And so I'll kind of come up with an idea, and then I'll cut stuff off camera and then glue it down and show you guys the final result. So these are kind of my two biggest pieces right here, the list and something that represents summer. So I could cut this down if I have to. But I think I kind of like this list right here up in the left-hand corner. And so I think I'm going to leave for sure that, and I'll probably end up cutting this down, maybe, possibly. I don't know yet. So let's start with that there, something that represents summer and the list. So I'll maybe put this over here in this corner. And again, I could cut this down if I wanted to a little bit, but we'll just leave it like that. A pattern with stripes. So I have these two scrap pieces of paper. And I do like the flowers on this one. So maybe I'm just going to slip this one underneath right there. And I can cut that down underneath there. So maybe we'll go like that. You can still see the stripes there. A photo. So let's see, I have this little lady here on the bike. So a photo. I could cover up something here. Maybe I'll cover that up right there. So I could put her right here or even down here. She needs to be cut out yet, but I could set her right there. So then that just leaves typewriter text and the clock. So I do have this, which if I wanted to do, but that's so dark with everything else looking very vintage. I don't know if I want to do that piece. And so then I could, like I said, cut this out. But I think I kind of like the typewriter, even though that really doesn't fully match in here. But I could possibly could go like this to layer it. or maybe just even right there to have it say just a note for the typewriter text. And the clock. So if I cut her out, I do have the little clock hands that I can add in if I want, but I could maybe just layer this, just part of this underneath. You know, if I cut this down to fit this background paper, I could layer that underneath, which I think I like that better than layering it on top somewhere. See if I can find the, so there's 12 in one, so I can somewhat put it the right way on my paper. So I could just do something like that. And then maybe just have, you know, those peeking through to make it look a little bit more like a clock. I think that kind of works as a layout. And then if I wanted to, I could go ahead and add one of these butterflies again, just to use up, you know, another item from that represents summer, and just to use up something random from my stash. But I mean, it looks fine, but I don't think it improves the layout any. So I think I'll just leave those guys off. So just make sure I don't want to add anything else here. So no, I think I'm happy with that. I like the way it looks. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple of these things down. I'm going to cut the blue paper down a little bit, and for sure her down a little bit, and then glue it all down, and I will be back to show you guys the final layout. So I'm back with my finished layout. I just cut down a couple of pieces. Otherwise, I left it as I showed you guys when I was working through the prompts. And so again, to go through the prompts one last time, something that represents summer. I thought down by the seashore kind of represents summer with these ladies playing. It looks like they're playing ball in the water. Also, the bicycle represents summer to me. A list, I found this scrapbooking paper that has kind of some preparation party stuff, like it says make invitations, decide a theme, send the invitations, etc. So there is a list right there. A pattern with stripes. I had this little scrapbooking or digital image with the flowers and the stripes behind it. A photo or portion of a photo. So I had this little girl on the bike. And then typewriter text, I kind of took that as a rubber stamped image that I already had. I must have been planning on using them for something because I had about half a dozen of these already stamped with the word just a note on it. So I'm just using that as my typewriter text. And then bonus would be a clock. And so I do have this little die cut of a clock up in the corner that I layered underneath everything. And I'm happy with that layout. I think it looks nice. So let me know what you guys think. And thank you again so much for watching. And I hope to see you guys back next week for week number 36.